Joan of Arc was born around 1412 in a small village called Domremy in France. Her parents were farmers named Jacques d'Arc and Isabelle Romée. Joan was very religious and helped her parents with farm work. At that time, France was at war with England, known as the 100 Years' War, and many villages, including Domremy, were attacked and destroyed. Joan grew up in a time of great conflict and hardship. Despite the difficult circumstances, she remained deeply religious and often prayed. Her family was supportive, and they shared her strong faith. Joan's early life was marked by her dedication to her family and her community. She learned to be strong and resilient, qualities that would help her later in life. When Joan was 13 years old, she started having visions and hearing voices. She believed these voices were from Archangel Michael, Saint Margaret, and Saint Catherine. They told her to help the Dauphin Charles, the future King Charles VII, to free France from English control. Joan believed that her mission was from God, which gave her strength and determination. She said that the voices guided her actions, like finding a special sword in a church. Joan's visions were a source of inspiration and guidance for her. She felt a strong sense of duty to follow the instructions given to her by the voices. This belief in her divine mission gave her the courage to approach important leaders and convince them of her cause. Her unwavering faith and determination were key factors in her success. Joan's visions also gave her a sense of purpose and direction in a time of chaos and uncertainty. In 1429, Joan went to see Charles VII and convinced him to let her lead the French army to lift the siege of Orléans. Her arrival gave the French soldiers hope, and they won a big victory, ending the siege. Joan continued to lead the French army in important battles like the Battle of Patay and the Loire campaign. Her presence on the battlefield inspired the soldiers, and her decisions often led to victories. Joan's military career was marked by her bravery and strategic thinking. She wore armor and carried a banner, which became a symbol of hope for the French troops. Her leadership and determination played a crucial role in turning the tide of the war in favor of France. Joan's success on the battlefield earned her the respect and admiration of her fellow soldiers. She showed that even a young girl could make a big difference in the world. After the victory at Orléans, Joan insisted that Charles VII be crowned in Reims. This was an important step to show that he was the true king of France. The coronation took place on July 17, 1429, and Joan was there holding her banner. This moment was the highlight of her mission and symbolized the return of the French monarchy. The coronation of Charles VII was a significant event in French history. It marked the restoration of the French monarchy and the legitimacy of Charles as the rightful king. Joan's role in this event was crucial, as her efforts had paved the way for the coronation. Her presence at the ceremony was a testament to her dedication and the success of her mission. This event also boosted the morale of the French people and strengthened their resolve to continue fighting for their country. On May 23, 1430, she was captured by Burgundian troops and handed over to the English in November of the same year. Joan was put on trial by Bishop Pierre Cauchon on charges of heresy. These charges included blasphemy for wearing male clothing, actions based on visions considered demonic, and refusal to submit to the church court. Despite her eloquent defense and unwavering courage, she was found guilty and burned at the stake on May 30, 1431, at the age of about 19. The trial was marked by the cruelty of the Inquisition, which sought to break her spirit and discredit her mission. Despite the well-documented events of her trial and execution, a fascinating conspiracy theory has persisted over the centuries: the Joan of Arc survival myth. This theory suggests that Joan of Arc did not actually die in 1431, but somehow escaped her execution and continued to live under a different identity. One of the most intriguing stories related to this myth involves a woman named Joan des Armois. The Joan of Arc survival myth says that Joan managed to escape her execution and lived on, possibly with the help of friends. This theory became popular because of Joan des Armois, a woman who appeared in France in 1436, 5 years after Joan's supposed death. Jean looked a lot like Joan and even had the support of Joan's brothers, who claimed she was their sister. Jeanne des Armois traveled across France, meeting many people who believed she was the real Joan of Arc. She received gifts, money, and support from those convinced of her true identity. Jean's resemblance to Joan and her ability to tell details of Joan's life made her story believable. However, in 1440, Jean met King Charles VII, who had known Joan personally. The king asked her a secret question that only the real Joan would know the answer to. Jean could not answer the question correctly and eventually admitted that she was not Joan of Arc. She was revealed to be an imposter. Despite the interesting nature of the Joan des Armois' story, most historians do not believe the survival myth. The trial and execution of Joan of Arc were well documented, with many witnesses present. The English authorities made sure that Joan's execution was a public event and her body was displayed to confirm her death. The detailed records of her trial and execution leave little room for doubt about her fate.